So this is Iris. For those of you who don't know, I've been fostering Iris for 3 months. She was in isolation for a couple years at the shelter and not trained, very intense, very committed, and I've been working with her for 3 months. So I'll do a little demo of how well trained she was. If you look at a video I just posted yesterday, you could see this. That's how she was when I first got her. Here's how she is now. Come on, Iris. Good. Down. Good. Okay, come on. Good. Heel. Let's go. So, but you can just see she's a way more calm dog, way less intense stare, just a way more calm energy, calm disposition. She's actually great with other dogs. You know, you can put a leash on her now. You can touch her and stuff without her spazzing out or knocking you over. If you come down low like this, before she would actually knock you over, now she wants to get pet. There you go. Good girl. Before she would actually almost knock you over. She was so strong. So, what did I learn? The primary lesson from Iris? Probably for me was just that dogs really have, you know, a personality within themselves, whether or not they like playing with dogs or they don't like playing with dogs, whether or not they generally want to meet dogs or they don't. And it was pretty interesting just to see that taking Iris out with my pack and getting her out there in these settings with other dogs, she's really a dog that likes other dogs. She likes meeting them. She likes playing. She's very sweet. So that was pretty interesting. You know, I've taken my dogs out a lot, and oftentimes they just are not very playful with other dogs. They're not really that engaging. If they are engaging, they usually just kind of like go up to them and put their hair up. And so it was interesting just seeing that Iris really was a very playful dog at her core. Once we got through that. The other thing I can say, which was pretty interesting, is... Hello. The way that a dog can reach a level of training, and then one behavior or one task will end up sending the dog kind of almost like back in time. So it was really interesting. You know, we got Iris to a really great level, but then when I would try to get her to not go in front of me, not pull on the leash, not kind of like be too close behind me and make me trip, she would get extremely frustrated. And she would start going like crazy. So it was pretty interesting to see the way these dogs can make a tremendous amount of progress, but still struggle in one particular area. And it's no big deal. When that happens, you know, it's really usually the case we just need to slow down and we need to come up with a new plan of action. In the case of Iris, we just had to slow down the whole process and teach her some spatial awareness. We had to do little things like this. Go on. Before, Iris didn't know how to go on. She would crowd your space. Go on. And she wouldn't move. Her tail was also permanently tucked. Like, see how it is tucked there? It was tucked almost completely underneath. Like, it's hard to say. It's not like it is anymore, but it was tucked, like, really far under. So it is getting better. Another thing that I noticed with this dog is just like dogs have a general kind of like energy level. And also like a general kind of affection level. And this dog turned out actually has a pretty high energy level, pretty high drive. So that was kind of a reminder, is just like some dogs, they're going to need that 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour of exercise every single day. But here's the catch. What I learned from Iris was that sometimes if we exercise a dog too much and they get too amped up and they start getting themselves too worked up, they end up in a situation where they're so amped up and they can't control themselves. And that's what we had here with Iris a handful of times. Was she would get amped up and she could not control herself. She just absolutely couldn't control herself. So that was an interesting thing, was to kind of find the balance of, okay, it's important she gets her run on, it's important she gets her exercise, but let's do it in the right, stable way where she doesn't get so amped up mentally. Physically, I'm fine with her getting amped up. The problem was mentally, she was so amped up, she could not focus. She had a tremendous difficulty focusing. So, at the same time, too, I have to say, fostering this dog, training her, it's been a really rewarding experience. I have to say, it's been cool to see how even my own pack, even this dog, could teach me things, dog training wise, and could actually teach my own dogs. And I think the one thing Iris really taught my own dogs was just a trust in other dogs. That Iris, despite everything she's been through, she naturally wants to trust dogs. She wants to give them a chance. If they take that first bite at her, she wants to give them a chance now. So it's kind of was cool to see the way, going out eventually to dog park off-leash areas, Iris ended up kind of being a leader in a sense in terms of showing my other dogs, look, it's okay, you can approach dogs, like, they're not going to do anything, they're not just going to attack you for no reason. So it was kind of cool to see that. To say I learned a lot about the Rottweiler breed, and that was really cool. And I just, more than anything, I just, once again, it was really just a reminder that it's like 99% of the time these dogs are the way they are because of the owner. Now, that's not to say some owners have the wrong dogs. A lot of owners probably have their hands full and have the wrong dog or can't commit enough time that the dog actually needs to be successful. But that being said, this dog 3 months ago, was completely insane. Knocking you over, high energy. You guys remember seeing her in the last video. She's panting. And now she's really mellowed out. I have her, and I will post some videos, at off-leash dog areas, completely under voice command. If I call her name at any time, she will stop and come right back like a bolt of lightning. And it's been a really cool experience working with her. And just a reminder that, we can always learn from the dogs. And I personally think a lot of trainers out there... Come on, Iris, let me get up now. I think a lot of trainers out there actually... What's up, Iris? She's all happy. I think a lot of trainers actually don't work with that gnarly of dogs. They don't really work with an Iris. And I think that's a lot of the reason why where I come from sometimes kind of is an intense place, is because I work with these intense dogs that nobody else really wants to mess with. And because I work with these challenging dogs, I have kind of a unique approach with dog training, and my views on socialization, the way we treat dogs, are somewhat unique. Now, that's not to say all dogs don't have different rules, but it's just to say, we're kind of all creatures of our environment. And when you foster dogs like this and, you take a dog that just was completely crazy, no training, you turn it into a great dog and you give it to a great home. And, I bet you we're going to see Iris in a few months from now doing even better. Once she gets in a home environment, she's going to do amazing. So it really is the case that a lot of times these dogs, they really just lack an owner that's willing to put things in a frame, in a way of seeing things for the dog that actually makes sense to the dog. And Iris, when I first got her, if she saw a dog and it came too close, she would charge it, she would tackle it to the ground. And I know some of my followers out here on YouTube have dogs like this, that will tackle a dog. And it's weird, having now like worked with these different dogs, it's weird to see when you strip away that impulse to attack and you get the dog in a more obedience based state of mind, you get the dog to the point where they have such an amazing level of respect for you that they just have to listen to you. Now, granted, some dogs have gone to the dark side, like Kai. But even still, with Kai, we could get a dog with no real impulse control issues and actually be able to take her out, take her around dogs and stuff, not have her attacking things, but realize at her core, she's just not really that into meeting dogs. And then we could have another dog that we rehabilitate, and at its core, it really likes meeting dogs. And it's really willing to put itself out there and put its guard down to try to meet other dogs. So it is kind of interesting just to see that the dogs, at their core, they do kind of have a different personality. This one's really friendly, and she actually really likes other dogs. And, I actually think it was really good for her to be around my pack that's not very invasive. And my pack really demands a lot of space from other dogs and each other. So I think it was really good for her to begin with, to kind of show her, hey, look, you got to respect dogs first and foremost. You can't go charging into them. You can't just go crazy and try to hump them or, knock them down. You got to respect them. Once you respect them, they're not just going to attack you. And once you gain that respect, then if you have that respect, then you can, have a little fun time with them. So it's been a good time with Iris. It's been 3 months. And, I'm really happy that she's not in isolation anymore. I'm really happy that she's getting adopted to a great family with a couple other Rottweilers who are really going to follow through on the training and keep her really calm. But I'm really glad, too, that she could bring something to the pack. I could learn something. She could learn something. And she's going to be missed. I will miss this dog. Some of my fosters, I won't miss them as much, but Iris is a special connection with her. She was just in there for so long by herself that it's kind of horrible, but I feel worse for a dog that's been trapped in a shelter for 2 years than a dog that just got dropped off and then just got euthanized or was going to get euthanized. This dog was just stuck in this limbo place for so long, not knowing what the hell is really going on. Hi, sweetie. Is she getting adopted? Is she just walking around in circles all day? What the hell is going on? So it really was a process. Another thing I learned real quick before I end, Iris really taught me, there is a limitation, with physical pressure. And at a certain point, dogs are just not going to respond to physical pressure. And there was a lot of circumstances with Iris where physical pressure, training pressure really helped her break through to another level I know she would never have broken through to. But then there were also levels where putting the pressure on her just created a bunch of confusion. And it was really up to me as a trainer to, notice that and say, okay, she's confused, this pressure's not working, we got to go back to the drawing board and restart from scratch. And I think that's something I really want to get across to people. It's not just as simple as, put pressure on your dog, they're going to do the right thing. A lot of times there is critical thinking, slowing down, creativity, basic layering and stuff to get the dog to understand what you want from them. But she's really happy. She's getting adopted tomorrow. And, thank you guys all for the support. It really means a lot to me. It means a lot to Iris, too. Thanks so much.